I'm Ryan, you are watching 60 Cycle Hum, and in this video, I'm going boss delay crazy! I've got every single boss delay pedal currently in production in front of me. Oh man, this is ridiculous. Huge thanks to Boss, by the way, for sourcing me with all these pedals. They asked me if I wanted to do any sort of like crazy concept video just to let them know what I needed. I decided to test the limits. I said, what if I did a video with all the boss delays? And they said yes. So here we are. I'm doing it. I'm hoping that this will be a bit of a shopping guide for anyone that's shopping for delay pedals, and they might be looking at all the boss options, which there are many, and they need to know which of these will fit their rig the best, which one has the features that fits their playing the best. So I'm hoping to answer those questions. You might be looking at this like, oh, there's a DD-500 right here. There's a DD-200. Surely these delay supercomputers will be able to cover anything that these three pedals can do. That's not true. There are fully, truly, honestly, deeply, all of those reasons to buy a DM-2w over a DD-500. This might fit your needs much better than the DD-500 or even the DD-200. There are, there's pros and cons to all of these, and there's specific features that may or might not fit your rig. So let's get into it. I'm going to do a quick audio sample of each one. By the way, off to the side, out of shot, I have the JHS Boss Angry Driver set to the Blues Driver setting for now, but I can switch over to the Angry Charlie if I want a higher gain sound. But that will be my drive sound. Here's my bypass tone without any delay. Let's do the neck pickup. Here is the DM-2w. This is the Wazacraft version of Boss's early 80s analog delay. Murky and warm and gritty. There's something magical about a true analog delay. And I really like the Wazacraft thing. I really like how they put the vintage style silver screw on these. It's a neat detail. And there's a fun little switch here that we'll get into in a bit. All right, the DD-3t. This is the newest version of the DD-3. I am a huge fan of the DD-3. I have a DD-3 on the board that I use for my surf band, and it is the only delay that I use for that band because I am fully committed to just how smooth and musical the spaceship sounds are when you rack the time knob. It's a digital delay. It's, it's clear. It's got these clean repeats, but there's something about the DD-3 where it degrades the repeats just slightly, just ever so slightly. They tend to warm up in a way that I find to be very nice, very pretty. Then you get into the DD-8, a much more modern, feature-packed, single-spaced delay pedal. Currently on the reverse setting. Reverse is too much fun. Then into the DD-200, currently on the Shimmer setting. Ooh, that's pretty. All kinds of different sounds and features and deep dives you can do with the settings of the DD-200, but it's still essentially a DD-500 Lite. This is the mega supercomputer here. Deep dives into submenus and all kinds of tweaky little settings that allow you to come up with things that you didn't even know that you could do. Right now it is on the SFX delay mode. So let's rewind and go back to the DM-2w here. It has an SC switch here. S stands for standard and C stands for custom. The custom mode is the extra added thing here with the Wazacraft thing. Something really interesting about the DM-2w and the original DM-2 is that when they came up with it, knob directions weren't standardized yet. Now we expect every single delay pedal, when you turn up the time, you turn it to the right and that's going to increase the length of the delay. Wrong. On the DM-2w, that is reversed. Long is to the left. You know I love doing that. Now, with analog delays, there are trade-offs. You don't get as long of repeats as you do with a standard digital delay because it just can't hold up the signal that long. The modified custom version gives you more length. The standard version kind of caps out pretty quick. Kind of dialed in more for like a slapback sort of sound. One of the trade-offs with an analog delay is that when you turn up the time really far, it actually decreases the fidelity of the repeat. And you'll actually hear when this is turned all the way up, there's this kind of high-pitched, crispy, lo-fi sort of thing going on with the repeats. Not just the fact that they degrade and get murky, like there's this like almost like bit crushed sort of ring on the edges. You hear that? That might be a feature to you, that might be a flaw, but with this one you can do those spaceship noises like I showed off earlier. And that's actually something you can't do in quite that way with these three digital pedals. Moving on to the DD-3t here. Yeah, you can do spaceship noises with this one as well. It's actually like the core reason why I love the DD-3 so much. On the rotary switch here, you have a few options. I like to live in the 800 millisecond range just because it gives me a wide range of stuff to mess with. There's also a 200 millisecond to, more fine tune in slapback sounds. 50 millisecond setting, and honestly, I have no idea why that exists because it is so fast. It's like an instant doubling sort of thing. I'll max that out. You could do a steel drum sort of simulated reverb thing there. And then there is a short loop section here, all the way to the right on that knob. This allows you to do kind of quick little sampled sounds. I'm having too much fun already. I've never used a short loop in a practical application, but I'm glad it's there. Some modern additions to the DD-3t here is that you can actually do tap tempo built into the pedal. Oh, I've got to go over to a delay setting to do that. There you go. Built-in, easy peasy tap tempo. Hold it to get out of it, or turn the knob to reset it. There's also an external tap tempo jack here if you want to control it externally, and just like the original, there is a direct out for your wet dry rigs. Over to the DD-8. Now we are getting into deep dive territory. A big thing once you get past this line is you lose the ability to do those spaceship sounds. It does a different sort of thing. It chops up the signal and gives you, honestly, some very fun laser sounds. I am not against those sounds at all. It just doesn't do the smooth musical thing that these other two pedals do. But those laser gun sounds, they are a bunch of fun too. Let's go through all the normal settings on here. There is a built-in 40-second looper on the DD-8, which is plenty to lay down a nice little loop. It acts like a single foot switch looper. Double tap to stop, hold to delete. Really nice to have a looper built into delay pedal, just so you always have a looper on your board, just in case, right? Now we are on the analog setting. We'll see how that compares to a real deal Boss analog pedal right here. Obviously, with a DD-8, you're going to have much longer delay times available. You'll notice that although it is murky and it's simulating the analog sort of thing where each repeat gets darker and grittier, it doesn't have that sizzle that happens when you turn up the time on the actual thing. There's just something else going on there. And there's an in-room feel sort of difference. This feels like warmer in a way that might not come across in the recording, especially if you're listening on, the tiny speaker in your phone or whatever. for most people, this is all they need from an analog delay. They don't need it to be the real deal thing. They're gonna slam it into a bunch of other effects anyways. And then next up is the standard delay. I'm assuming that this is pretty close to the DD-3. Yep. Besides, wanting to do spaceship sounds, it does that sound very nicely. Here is the tape setting. Kind of murky, a bit of like a flutter and wow thing going on there. There's something very, very charming about a tape style delay. Onto the warm setting. It seems like it's kind of a hybrid style. It's delay repeats with a warming on the repeats that give it a bit more of like an analog sort of feel without an analog sound, if that makes sense. Reverse, I already did that a bit. One of my favorite things to do with a reverse is to strike a note and let it ring and let it feel like it's coming out, and then that reverse comes in, and wait until that peak meets up with your playing and then move on to the next note. It's a really satisfying, like tactile sort of experience. Even when I play something awful. Next up is a plus reverb setting. By the way, I'm running into my two Princeton's rig. And there's certain of these settings that actually sound like there's something stereo going on with the modulation. You can see I'm running two cables out of this. It is splitting into a stereo signal. I can't help myself. That's a pretty setting. Next up is the Shimmer setting. Oh, that's just pretty. Onto a mod setting. Lots of pretty settings here on the back end of it. There's two more. One is warp. Warp gives you this momentary hold feature that holds what you were just playing, and then you can play on top of it, and it continues to layer on top of what you were playing, on top of that held section. You want to build, you know, like ambient soundscapes real damn quick, Warp will do it. Last one is GLT. I forget what GLT stands for. I can't for the life of me think of what it stands for. You can do more impressive stuff with it when your pedal's not on a table and you can use your foot to operate it. But it does something similar to the warp, and where it grabs a section of what you were just playing and repeats it. It does it without you being able to add on top of it. So it's more of like this rhythmic micro loop sort of situation. I didn't test to see if there were hold features on the other ones. There very well might be. No, not on the Shimmer. It switches to tap tempo when I hold it on that one. By the way, quick rewind to the DD-3t here. When you enter into tap tempo mode, you can actually ramp, well, not ramp, but switch between different time signatures for, you know, sort of musical applications, similar to that sort of spaceship sound. I love stuff like that. I honestly, truly do. All right. Other features of the DD-8. There is tap tempo and expression input here. The manual made it sound like you can change what you can control with the expression. When I tried it out, it was only controlling the mix, and I couldn't figure out how to get it to apply to other things. And it doesn't say in the manual how to get it to apply to other things. So if anyone knows how to reassign it to the feedback, the time knob would be pretty glitchy, but pretty fun. I'd love to know, because I couldn't find the information. It might just be a typo in the manual. Anyways, I almost feel like I should do the DD-500 first, since the 200 is sort of a light version of the 500. It does a lot of the same things, but it does less of the things. And some of the things you have to do a bit of a dive to figure out how to get them to turn on and off. Yeah, let's go through the DD-500 first. We'll start off with the SFX delay here. Shimmer. Filter. Slow attack. Terra Echo. This is a weird and wonderful one. In some ways, it's kind of Boss's Rainbow Machine, to reference a different pedal. All right, the standard mode. Analog. Tape echo. Vintage digital. Dual is a fun one. We'll come back to this one to do a deep dive into it. Pattern delay. And then, of course, reverse. Something that's a little bit annoying to me with this one and this one is that the time knob is like one click at a time. It's hard to do really fast adjustments there. You can see the tap is flashing on this. It's not tapping on this because I have another function assigned to the tap control right now. The tap really makes it possible to dial in the delay speed that you need. So you've got to have the tap unless you want to do the funky thing that I'm going to show off in a moment. Let's go over to the dual. I bet you want to know how I did that. I want to know how I did it. Let's get into the deep dives that you got to do to figure out some of these settings to get that crazy stuff going on. You click Edit, and now you are into your submenu dive. We'll go to Patch. We're on Dual. I'll show off some of the crazy stuff you can do with the dual mode here. You can change the mode from AB to AB series. To AB parallel. Let's do just normal AB for now. Now you can actually change the type of delay happening on each setting. It's dual. There's two delays going on here. So we can make the first one an analog delay, and we'll make the second one a tape. There's three options: standard, analog, and tape. A bunch of options in between for level and things like that. You have your second time control for the second delay here. You can put it just after the first delay for like a quick gallop. after. Get it really close. Change the feedback level on that second delay. I mean, everything. The level, the feedback, the tone, mod depth, mod rate. Let's time that depth, just for funsies. All kinds of other nerdy options hiding in here. Direct level, input level, low damp, high damp, duck sensing, in case there's ducks in the neighborhood. Oh man, it just goes on and on and on. Now onto that control thing. From this menu, you go down to control, and right now I have the tap control button set to twist. Come on, baby, let's do the twist. We can take it off. That's no fun. Tap tempo, which is the stock standard. Hold, remember hold from over here. Warp, also from over here. There's the twist. Momentary, this is fun. If you have a really crazy sort of delay patch you've put together. Now there's some fun ones here at the end. There's roll 1 to 2. This doubles your delay time. You can also do 4 times your delay time, 8 times your delay time. It goes on and on. And then fade. Fade is the last one. So you're building up just a ridiculous, over the top, fully fed back delay sound. You can easily fade it out with that control if you have it engaged. Of course, there's all kinds of other controls and functions and ridiculous things you can do down here with expression pedals and external foot switches and whatnot. The sky is the limit with this pedal. I want to put it back to tap tempo just to have the standard option for now. But it's easy to go back and throw it back in there. And look, there is so much other stuff to dive into here. It is pretty wild. What else do I need to cover? A reason to get the DD-500 over the DD-200 is, I mean, basically there's unlimited presets. You can scroll through banks by pressing 2 fit switches at a time. You can see you're jumping through all kinds of banks. 2 effects in a bank on the A and the B, and then you can jump back down through the banks, the other 2 foot switches at a time. Built-in looper, built-in 3-button looper on this. All you do is hold down this, and you enter into the looper setting. Of course, stop and hold to clear it. 3-button looper, guys. It's nice to have it there, and you don't have to go into a looper mode. It's just sitting there waiting for you. Oh, Midi Control. There's also MIDI here. You want to run MIDI? You can do it. Of course, this hyper, super duper delay computer, you're going to want to control it with MIDI if you're into just, you know, thousands of ridiculous presets and all sorts of little tweaky things. You've got to have MIDI on there. All right, rewinding back over to the DD-200. It has a lot of the stuff I just covered on the 500, but it doesn't have the deep dive into submenus. And the way it gets around that is that you have a parameter control here that assigns one adjustable parameter to each of these settings, where over here, there's dozens of adjustable parameters, but they've picked the most important ones for this parameter knob over here. And I honestly think it's really smart. It's really great. I wish there was a parameter knob on this one. They could have put it right here and moved this business underneath the screen and moved the screen up a little bit, because it's so convenient for those just no-brainer sorts of adjustments. Let's turn this off. We'll come over here, do a quick run through of the standard settings on here. There are a couple deviations. Like, because this has ducking settings that you can apply, there is a dedicated ducking mode over here. There are two kind of like tape head based delays on this side, tape and drum, where you only have tape over here. I don't think you have the vintage digital. And you have something called pad echo. There are differences. You shop for yourself. I'll go through them all right now. We'll start out on the Shimmer, because that's where I left off. Let's see what the parameter does. Dime it. It changes the tonal nature of that shimmer. It darkens it up when you turn it to the left. Echo. Oh yeah. Echo is a standalone pedal that Boss made for a while, and it is just wild. It really is Boss's rainbow machine. It's like this wild hybrid between a delay and a reverb, and there's like this crazy like kind of dynamic sensing thing going on, where the softer you play, it does one thing, and the harder you play, it does another thing, and you can kind of shift back and forth with your playing dynamics. It just gives you funky, crazy, magical sounds. Besides the parameter control, you have the same controls up top. You have time, feedback, level, tone, and modulation depth. Those same group of controls right there. To get into assigning, the twist and the warp and the hold and stuff like that, you have to do a bit of a dive into, a submenu where you're getting little codes on the screen here. I'll get into that in a bit. Let's go through the other sounds first. All right, pad echo. Now that I'm done messing around with Terra echo because it's so much fun. So on this parameter affects sort of the wave shape of how that pad comes in. On the left, it comes in really abruptly, and on the right, it blends it in smoothly. Got to turn the guitar back up. Pattern was over here as well. The parameter switch scrolls through various patterns that are available. The same patterns that are available here, but you'd have to dive into the menu to get into those parameters. Lo-fi. On this one, the parameter controls how much dirt is on that repeat. Now, I'm going to turn off the angry driver so you can hear that dirt clearly over a clean signal. All right, the dual setting, the parameter on this gave the time for that second dual reverb. I don't think you can do the dive into a submenu to figure out how to put a different style delay on that second one. The DD-500 really shines with this patch. It's plenty of fun on the DD-200 as well. Ducking. So with a ducking delay, it mixes out the delay when it senses that you are playing something. So once you're done playing, then it brings in the ducking. You can control how quickly, how sensitive it is to your playing with the parameter. feel like all the way to the left there, it's making quick decisions as to when to mix in that delay. Reverse. I think the parameter is dialing in some sort of slow gear style effect. So all the way to the left, it's off. All the way up, and it starts to bleed in that signal in a different sort of dynamic way. Giving you a smoother, kind of more ambient, but also kind of glitchy sort of effect to that reverse. Standard now. I think the same. I think there is a slow gear thing happening there on the parameter. Let's see how that compares to the DD-3t. Tonally, very the same. It just can't do the spaceship sounds that I'm in love with. Analog now. See how that compares. Again, they're doing the murky kind of degradation of the signal really well, but it doesn't have that hiss, that sizzle, that grit that's going on, and that kind of preamp alive sort of feel that you get with a real analog delay. It's a great sound. They dialed in a really great sound on the analog settings on these three digital pedals, but it's not the full package. If you are in love with analog delay sounds, you've got to get an analog delay. The digital things are not quite the real thing, especially when you want to, land your spaceship. All right, the parameter on that. I'm actually not sure what it's doing. It might just be some kind of saturation thing going on. All right, now on to some really interesting ones. The tape and the drum. If you're familiar with how tape echoes work, real deal tape echoes, there's a real magnetic tape that goes around and around and around and gets recycled in a tape echo. And what's happening is it's passing over tape reading heads. One of them writes it, and then it hits other heads after it, and those heads pick up the signal that was written. And when they pick it up, that's your repeat. Dun, dun, dun. So on the parameter, you can adjust which heads are active. You could have just the first head, the second, the third, the first and the second, the first and the third, the second and the third, and the first, second, and third, so on and so on. And it keeps going. The drum is similar, but that will have 4 heads. But here's what it sounds like. Now we get a bit of a gallop with the 1 and 2. 1 and 3. Two and 3. I like like that. Dun, 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 dun. One, two, three. Now I'm sure on the DD-500 you can go in and tweak all sorts of crazy things on each individual repeat head. Onto the drum. Now a drum echo, it doesn't use tape. It uses this round drum with oil in it and it spins. I've never played one in person, but they always sound fascinating to me. But they come up with a completely different sort of sound. Similar to tape, but different, unique in its own way. It's dreamy. Same sort of thing. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 delay heads on there. We'll go straight to the 2, 3. 1, 3. 2, 4. That's a good sounding delay. 1, 2, 3. All of them. Crank the modulation. And then back to Shimmer. All right, I promised I would show off how to do the, what is it called? The twist thing with this. It's a bit of a dive. There's a bunch of options you can get into. I really suggest hitting the manual, finding videos that tell you how to do it. It took me a while to figure it out. It's not as obvious as having a screen with submenus. You click tap division and memory at the same time. You enter into this menu. It usually starts off with cry. But you want to be on NFC, then you click in this knob. Starts with NU up. That means it's actually supposed to be an M, memory up. That's the memory scrolling feature to go through your 4 memory presets. You don't want to be on that. You want to be on TST. That is the twist. Warp is also there. Hold, tap, fade, and there's a bunch of other options. Oh, these are the rate doubling, quadrupling, and times 8. I forget what that is. Oh, these will jump to a specific memory. So if you just want to have it jump from your manual to number 4, then you could do that, or number 3, 2, 1. You know, you get the idea. But let's take it back to twist, because I love twist so much. And then, of course, you see that there's tap division control here. There is also a built-in looper, just like this and this. A really functional and fun thing to have. All you do to loop is hold this down. Oh, wait. Hold them both down. Oh, I'm in. Okay. Similar functionality to the other 2 loopers, just with 2 buttons instead of 1 or 3. Easy to figure it out, especially if you used other loopers before. So yeah, let's do a conceptual review here. Talk about, kind of the buying guide ideal that I was going for. Obviously, the DD-500 does so much. Just the dive into the menus gives you an incredible wealth of options. The amount of presets and things that you can store and set up to do every specific little nuanced thing that you want to do is in there. It is a delay supercomputer. It's also $350. The DD-200 is $100 less. Does pretty much all the sounds you get over here, with a few exceptions. This doesn't have the SFX, and then this one doesn't have the drum echo and things like that. There's a few little differences. But the wealth of sounds you can get out of the DD-500 is intense. The DD-200, I honestly feel like this is the delay supercomputer that I would prefer to have on my board, because I don't like to dive into submenus and things like that. I want something where the controls are more on the face, more on the fly. I probably would only save like 2 presets in this and rely on the manual settings for what I want in the moment. That's how I like to operate. And the fact that I can throw that twist on there for fun. Yeah, I'd probably have 2 memories stored with a twist on it. I don't know if you can do the twist based on memory or if it's a global setting. I should look into that. Tell me down in the comments if you know the answer to that. But yeah, I like a more on the top, attack what you need in the moment sort of pedal. And this does that. Honestly, I would pick it over this. This is 160, I think. Yeah, 160, and this is 250. $90 more. The added functionality of, you know, that twist and the momentary stuff that you can assign to the momentary tap. You can assign, you know, external expression and other foot switches to this as well. There's a jack for that back here. And the memories and tap tempo and everything else. Yeah, I feel like for 90 bucks, I would choose this over this. And for $100 savings and the way I like to work with pedals, I would choose this over this. But none of these, this group right here, these 3 pedals are in no way a replacement for what these 2 pedals do. Something essential to me that I need to have on various pedal boards that I put together. I have to have those spaceship sounds. I just do. They're an integral part of certain songs that I play with my surf band. They're fun that I like to have in other settings, and these 3 pedals do not do that sound in the same sort of way. The liftoff, motorcycle revving, twist sort of function is a total blast, but it's not the same sort of thing. So I'm still dedicated to the DD3. I love the response I get twisting that time knob on the DD3. The DM-2w, I tend to not lean into analog delay too much, but there's something magical there. And I think everyone should have at least one analog delay in their collection. But this one definitely gives you some extra options with that custom switch to get some extra delay time, because analog delays famously don't have super long delay time. And this one is $150. Totally great sounding pedal, totally accessible at that price point. This one's $140. That's the cheapest one. And I think it's great, especially with the built-in tap tempo now. Fantastic pedal. Is there anything else I need to cover? I should play through all of them. And I should hook up the expression pedal to the DM-2w here. And you know what? It's baritone time. We'll close out with some ridiculous baritone noodling, expression noodling. And if I remember correctly, the expression pedal on the DM-2w here controls the time or the rate. It's liftoff time. I was still in looper mode. All right, what do you guys think? Is there anything that I didn't address? There's something that you know about these pedals that I don't. I mean, obviously, there's just a wealth of stuff you can do with the DD-500. There's probably tons of stuff you can do with the 200 that I didn't scratch the surface of. The DD-8, I didn't mention like when or why you would buy that one. There's obviously things that this one does. It has the reverb setting on there. It's smaller. It has the tempo and expression control. Still a completely valid pedal to get, especially if you're looking to save money. You can get some really crazy and wonderful sounds for 90 bucks less than that. But for my money, if I was buying this, I'd probably throw in the extra money to get the DD-200. But anyways, thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, dislike, leave me rude and nasty comments, support us on Patreon, buy a shirt if you're naked, and stay grounded. Bye, everybody.